Yo, what is up? So in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and add the ability to pick up items and interact with them. So, yeah, should be pretty quick and simple. So let's just hop into it. All right. So first thing we should do is I don't think we ever set collision to our sword or our shield. So I'm gonna go to my affinity blade weapons, blade, sword, blade hero sword, 11. Open this guy up, and on the convex down here, I'm just gonna apply. That way we get collision on that guy, and then we're gonna go up to our models, shields. Gonna open this guy up. Same thing. I'm just gonna apply collision to that guy. Save it. Close it down. That way they'll be interactable. You gotta have collision on them to be able to interact with them. Then I'm gonna go down to third person, inputs, actions, and I'm just gonna duplicate the jump here, and we're gonna make a new action called interact. Then we're gonna go back and go to our IMC defaults, and we're gonna add in our interact. We're gonna grab our interact, and we're gonna make this the E key. And let me look at my references for what they are on the controllers. Gamepad face button top. Let's add one. Just go to gamepad. This is gonna be gamepad face button top. And we're gonna add another one. And this is gonna be our generic USB controller button 4. The generic USB controller button 4. Like that. So we got that done. So now we're gonna go up to our blueprints folder. We're gonna make a new folder called interfaces. We're gonna open this guy up. We're gonna right click. We're gonna go to blueprints right here. We're gonna make an interface for our interaction. So we're gonna click on this blueprint interface, and we're gonna call this interact underscore BPI. And we're gonna open this guy up. And you see in an interface, you have basically, you can make like a list of functions, different things that you want to happen for when you use an interface. So we're just going to use this first one here and rename it. We're going to call it interact. So compile and save that. And that's all we need to do in here. So now we need to implement the interface, because when you use an interface, you have to implement it on, you know, the things that you want to use it with. So we're going to go to our third person blueprints, third person character. We're going to go up here to class settings, and on the right over here you'll see this thing that says interfaces. We're going to go down to implemented interfaces, and we're going to use our interact underscore BPI, and now that is implemented on our character. And you see we get this menu over here now that says interfaces. But we also want to implement that on our item. So go to your blueprint, items. We're going to go to the base item, and we want to go to class settings over here. Go over here to interfaces, and we're going to add our interact underscore BPI. So now it's implemented on our item. So now that is done. And now what we want to do, let's delete all of this in our base item. Let me pull up my references real quick. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and implement that interface. So, we're just going to double click on this interface on our base item. Double click on it, and you'll see we get this guy right here. And what we want to do from here is we're going to cast to BP third person character. Then we're gonna get player character, and we want to make a function to happen for when we interact with the item. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to blueprints, components. We're gonna make a new component that's gonna be our inventory. So blueprint class, actor component. We're gonna call this inventory underscore CP. We're gonna open this guy up, and we're gonna make a new function over here. We're gonna call this pickup item, and we're gonna click on this pickup item right here. We're gonna add an input. We're gonna call it item info, and this will just give us the information from the item that we're picking up. So we're gonna make that variable an item info structure. And now we need to add this component to our third person character. So go to your third person character. We're gonna find our inventory CP. So now that's a part of our character. So what we want to do is go back to your base item, and when we interact, we want to get our inventory components, and then we're gonna pull off here. We're gonna pick up item like that. And then once you pick up the item, you kind of don't want the item in the world anymore. So at the end here, we're just gonna destroy actor. So that way when you interact with it, it will go away. Compile and save like that. And now we just need to add in like being able to actually interact with the item. So we're gonna go to our third person character, and down here, actually, let's go to viewports. We're gonna add a sphere collision around our character, and that'll kind of tell us what we're around. So we're gonna go up here to add. We're gonna add a sphere collision, and we're gonna call this interact radius. And I'm just gonna move it down to the bottom a little bit, and I'm gonna scale it up to be, I don't know, let's say 80. Yeah, something like that. So that way when we go over things, we can interact with them and, you know, get an overlap event, which is what we're about to do now. So on our interact radius, I'm gonna right click on that, add event on component begin overlap, and we'll get this guy. I'm gonna move that. Then I'm gonna right click on it again, add event on components end overlap, and we'll add this guy. So yeah, so when we overlap things, we want to check some things. So other actor, we're gonna see does implement interface. So we're gonna check to see if it has the interface that we just added to it, and we're gonna check for the interact BPI. We're gonna grab a branch and hook that guy up, and we're just gonna copy this because we want to do the same check on end overlap like that. So we want to check this on both of them. So let me just grab my other reference here. And we want to do some things if it does implement the interface. So yeah, so we're gonna pull off the other actor. We want to add a unique. Add unique. So basically what this does is it adds a unique instance of something whenever you overlap it. It'll add a unique instance to an array. As you can see, this is an array. So we're going to add a unique instance of that item that implements the interface. And what we're going to do here is we're going to pull off this array right here. We're going to promote that to a variable called interactables in range, like that. And then what we want to do is down here on our end overlap, we're going to pull off the other actor, and we're going to remove Where is it at? Remove item. We're gonna hook that to the true, like that. And we're gonna hook our interactables in range, so whenever we aren't overlapping it anymore, it'll remove that instance from the from our array of interactables in range. So yeah. So now, what we want to do is we want to grab our interaction. We want to implement the ability to interact. So we're gonna grab our interact. We want to grab the interact input action, wherever it is. Why don't I see it? We added it. Let me go look. Third person input IMC default input action interact. It's there, so it should show up. Oh, right here. Enhance input action interact. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to get our interactables in range. And we want to get the length of it. We want to see how many items are in that interactables in range, which is kind of what this does. It basically checks the length of how long the array is. Then what we want to do is we want to check if it's greater than 0. So if it, if there's anything in the interactables in range, this number will be greater than 0. So something else we want to do, right now it'll be always greater than 0, because right now on our interact radius, we need to change the collision of that, because right now it'll count yourself as the first item because we implement the interface and the interact interface. So we want to go to our interact radius and we want to change the collision of this. So we're gonna just change this from overlap all dynamic. We're gonna change it to custom. And on pawn right here, we want to ignore the pawn, because that way the interactable is in range, the length of it will not count. It won't count ourselves as an item, pretty much. Without changing that, it'll count ourselves as an item first. So alright, so now we want to just grab our interactables in range again, and we want to get a copy of it. So get a copy. So get a copy is basically a way of you can in arrays, you see you get this number here, which is, this is just basically doing the same thing that this length is doing. Is you could see right here you have a 0, so this just gets a copy at the index, because when you have arrays, if you add stuff to this, just to show you real quick, you get these indexes 0, 1, and if you add them, it'll just keep going like that. So we want to get a copy at index 0. So yeah, so that's what this indicates. It indicates the number of items and where they sit in the index. So that's what that does. So then what we want to do is we want to grab a branch. We're going to hook this to the started, and we're going to hook this guy to the condition, and then we just want to interact. We're going to get this interact message. You see it says interact BPI. So this just sends a message to anything that implements the interface, which our base item does. And basically what this means is when it sends this message, it will shoot off, it will tell it to shoot off this interact you know, event that we've implemented in our item. So now that should be working. So compile and save. And that should be working. Let's just give it a little test real quick. Yep. We can run over items and pick them up. I mean, it's kind of picking them up. We're not doing everything yet, but we're running over them. We hit our interact, and the items disappear. So, yeah, that's kind of all we're gonna do for this one. So, in the next part, we're gonna go ahead and start adding our stacking function. So when you pick up the item, it'll actually it'll pick up the item and add it to your inventory. So we're basically gonna create our inventory in the next one. So, which is gonna be quite a bit of work. So we might break that one up into like 2 different videos. We'll see, because we're gonna have like multiple different inventories for our different item types. So yeah, we're gonna call it here for this one. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know those down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.